At the time I'm recording this video, I have 8,000 subscribers and 1.8 million views. So whenever you see this, compare these numbers to whatever I have when you watch this.
If you, especially if you have 0 videos on your channel, your first video is not going to get views. Period.
It's 11. And
really?
Yeah, so now I'm 23. And so it's just like, basically every year it's just gotten crazier and crazier. And I used to make $1 a day back. Well, the first few years I wasn't even making money off YouTube. But once I started making money, I was making $1 a day. And I saved up for a couple months. I bought a microphone, saved up for half a year. I got a computer, and I've just always reinvested it. And so it's like literally just all, I mean, I was like as awkward as they came, no money, no nothing. And I just basically just obsessed.
Today, the 21-year-old from North Carolina runs one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in history.
Well, to improve something each time is the tricky one. How do you improve something each time? The second one, just, I don't know, put more effort into the script. The third one, try to learn a new editing trick. The fourth one, try to figure out a way that you can have better inflections in your voice. The fifth one, try to, study a new thumbnail tip and implement it. The sixth one, try to figure out a new title. There's infinite ways. That's the beauty of content creation online. There's literally infinite ways, from the coloring to the frame rate, to the editing, to the filming, to the production, to the jokes, to the pacing, to every little thing can be improved, and they can never not be improved. There's literally no such thing as a perfect video. It's not. Your first 10 are not going to get views. I can very confidently say that. So stop sitting there and thinking for months and months on end, and just get to work and start uploading. Like, all you need to do, this applies to people who have not uploaded videos but have dreams of being a YouTuber, is make 100 videos and improve something every time. Do that. And then on your 101st video, we'll start talking like maybe you can get some views, but your first 100 are gonna suck. There are very freak cases like Liza Koshy or Emma Chamberlain who have really good personalities, and it doesn't take them as many videos. And it's just like people who are 7'5" and making the NBA. Like, yes, there are freak cases you can find, but for the average person like us, who don't have these exceptional personalities and, backgrounds in filmmaking, just make 100 videos, improve something each time, and then talk to me on your 101st video.
Because I had a friend when I was 13 that found my channel, and so I deleted like all the videos. I got really self-conscious.
So you might be wondering, what the heck is this? And honestly, I'll probably forget about this oh, I'm shaking a lot. Sorry, my hands shake. All right, let's set this down. Did that fix it? Yeah.
If I told you 3 years ago that this guy right here was a YouTube genius, you'd probably laugh in my face. Back then, Mr. Beast, aka Jimmy Donaldson, was filming videos of himself on his iPhone 5 in his bedroom.
I don't understand. I just don't understand.
The question is, how is this all possible? What does Mr. Beast know that we don't?
The very first video, weirdly enough, I played this stupid game and some hacker like killed my base when I was 11. And so I uploaded it, and my first video got 20,000 views like instantly, because it was like all the people that played the game was like, oh shit, you can hack in this game. It's a game called Battle Pirates. I guarantee you no one listening.
What is it called?
Battle Pirates. No one here has ever heard of it.
Battle card?
Battle Pirates. It was,
Battle Pirates.
Yeah, it was a really small game, but I uploaded that and I got 20,000 views. And that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because then I was hooked from day one. Literally, like most people, it takes hundreds of videos before you get like one view. And somehow the very first video I uploaded at 11 got like 20,000 views. And then I was just like, oh, I fell in love, and I've been hooked ever since.
Now, of course, it's not just as easy as that. Making videos that have the potential to go viral and actually going viral are two very different things. How is anyone going to know your video is a viral hit in the cares about two things now more than anything else? Click-through rate, which is the amount of people clicking on your video, and watch time, which is the amount of time people spend watching your video after clicking.
Dang. Like,
Right.
no one was really a YouTuber. Hardly anyone made money. But like the partner program wasn't really a thing. No one
Right.
was making money.
Right.
And it was definitely back before it was cool. Like when I was doing YouTube when I was 14 and 15, like now, it's cool if you want to be a YouTuber in high school or middle
Yeah.
school. Back then, like no one gave a fuck. You know what I mean? It was like you're just worried they would try to play your videos in class or make fun of you or stuff like that for it.
The second thing is very obvious. His videos are long. If you want to get more watch time, it makes sense to have longer videos. There's a sweet point though, which for Mr. Beast is usually between 10 and 20 minutes. And thirdly, Mr. Beast uses a lot of retention tactics to make sure viewers are brought on a journey through his videos and don't click off. Most of his videos are not resolved until the end, so you naturally want to stick around to see what happens. If you break it down, they are all a story with an intro, middle and end. He also uses a varied approach of editing, for example combining energetic humor with slower
10, 20,000 subscribers when we met. And by the time we stopped talking, we all had millions of subscribers. And we all hit 1 million subscribers like within a month. It's crazy because it's like, so like when I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. And so for the most part, it was just like I was just trying to scrounge money so I could buy equipment because I was using my brother's old laptop. And so, like, my first couple hundred videos, I didn't have a microphone. Like, imagine just, like, crackly, terrible voice. And so once I got monetized, I saved up for a few months. Like I told you, I bought a microphone. I can just give you a mile-high history. And I saved up for, like, 6 months. I mean, I was just doing video game videos, and they were terrible. But I saved up. I got a real computer. So now I could actually record the video game in high quality. I have a microphone. I'm, like, 15. And I just kept going and going. Trying to figure out like what are some of like the hot spots. Like essentially up until 18 I had been doing YouTube pretty religiously, but I was making no money. Like this is kind of the turning point was when I graduated from high school, and my whole life I was like I want to be making enough money by the time I graduated to do this full time, and I wasn't. I was still only making a couple $100 a month. So I graduated high school and my mom was like either move out or go to a community college. And I didn't have enough money to move out, but I hated school with a passion. But she forced me to go to community college, and that was the worst thing ever. Like that made me hate life. Like borderline suicidal. I just can't stand like having to just sit there and listen to this dumb stuff and listen to some teacher read out a book. So what I did was I would act like I was going to community college, but I would just work on videos in my car and edit and stuff like that. I had straight zeros. And so now the clock had started because once my mom found out, I was screwed.
Were you aware of that? Like that you're running a risk?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't. And I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she didn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like I invested 18 years, and this is what I get.
Where were you living?
What would I do if I was a small creator?
Yeah, how would you get traction?
Yeah, ooh, this is a fun one. Well, the big thing is when I was a smaller channel, just to be honest, the videos I was making sucked, but I thought they were great at the time, but I watch them now and they're pretty bad. And so, I thought they should have gotten views and they deserved to get views, but looking back, like the views I got, I was lucky to get. They're pretty terrible. So for most of the time when I meet smaller creators, my advice is usually just like make 100 videos and just improve one thing with each video. Because like if you're not unless you like made tons of films and stuff like that coming to YouTube, usually you got to spend a couple years. Some of us it takes a decade, like me, to refine your skills and get it where you're actually a good storyteller and good at making videos and good at entertaining people before it even makes sense for you to start getting views. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we forget like the numbers on the screen are real people. You know what I mean? And there's infinite amounts of videos out there. So until you hone your craft and get really good at it, you shouldn't even really worry about the algorithm too much, which is funny following that up. But because, step one is just getting it where you're making content people want to watch. And then, then getting it where you're making content people have to watch, you know what I mean? And going from there. So ideally, if you're doing engineering videos like Mark Rover, you can't do 100 videos. So take it with a grain of salt based on, the type of content you do. But ideally, you just make a ton of videos, you improve something each time, and you just do that for as long as possible. And like you'll notice if you do that for 100 videos, the 100th video will literally be like 4 times better than your first video if you actually improve something each time. It's pretty hard for it not to be, And so now that's basically what I did from like 13 to 20. I just made 1,000 videos, and the 1,000th one was just like, oh, it's finally good. People finally want to watch it. And so that's kind of my advice. And then once you get to the point where you're like really confident and the videos are really good, then I would start to worry a little bit more about thumbnails or other things in optimization. But at first, the core foundation is actually making great videos, and that's just a skill that takes time.
My mindset, if you want to know how I always thought, I just always saw it as I just reinvest everything I make. Like literally up till a few months ago, every time I got a paycheck, that was just like the month's budget. So like I said, I saved up $1 a day to buy a microphone. When I made a few $1,000s, I just spent a few $1,000s. When I made $10,000, I just spent 10. So it's like, as I made more money, I was just like, all right, well now I want to spend it on videos somehow. That was just my mindset.
Didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like, I thought I would just just didn't even know how to speak. Like literally, I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube, and I would try to talk about something else. But back then I was so hyper obsessed, I literally just didn't know how to.
But what were you obsessed about? Were you obsessed about other channels, your channel?
Everything from like learning how to editing, the pacing of the videos, like ideas, what's going viral, what's trending, what's hot. Especially back then, I had no idea what worked. I mean, I had to like self-teach myself everything, even frame rate on cameras, coloring of the video, just stuff like that.
And how did you learn? Did you learn from YouTube?
Yeah, well,
so like YouTube videos and tutorials or something?
Most of my growth came actually after I graduated high school. Basically, what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts. One was a high school dropout, and one, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we would just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. And we'd do things like just take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got, or like like videos that get over 10 million views is like how often do they cut the camera angles, or like things like that.
Really? So you microanalyzed
everything.
Really?
Yeah, just I mean for like we were very religious about it, and so that's where most of my knowledge came from. Is I just surround myself with these lunatics, and just every day like we didn't do anything. We had no life.
But everybody had sort of a similar vision.
Yeah, exactly. So we all had like, if you envision a world where you're trying to be great at something, and it's just like you learning and fucking up and then learning from your mistakes. Also, my mom told me not to curse. Sorry, Mom. If someone could just like edit out the swear words and give it to me.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, so I could give it to my mom to listen to. That would be great. But like, you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from the mistake, they teach you what they learn. Stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. So but it's interesting that you thought about it that way in sort of a systematic approach. Like
exactly.
So it's not dumb luck.
No. I mean, it was like they say 10,000 hours in master or something. We probably put in like 40, 50,000 hours. I mean, we're talking like every day, all day, like literally nothing. We had no friends outside of the group. That was your life. And
I'm actually where, you started out doing gaming content. You went into like counting to 100,000, reading the dictionary. Tell us about your journey on deciding what content to make, and how is it today? Like, how has it changed over time?
That's actually a perfect one to follow up what you just asked me. Essentially, just every video of my entire life, I've always tried to just get better with each video. And so, I mean, that's how it started, with just terrible videos with a terrible laptop. And then we worked up to, eventually recreating Squid Game. I don't know. It's kind of hard because I'd have to take you through the entire history of my life, but just if every video you're improving something, and you just, probably now it's been 11 or 12 years, those like little improvements just add up, and over time it just, it looks like some big leap happened, but it was like just very gradual over time, which you probably already know that. But I mean, I guess that's really the answer for me. It's just like small improvements over time. It's like most people don't just go from like doing a Minecraft video to then making Squid Game the next month. You know what I mean? Like there's usually like a 4 or 5 year gap in between to like get up to there. And then also for me, I've just always reinvested all the money I made. So when I got my first brand deal, I gave it away, and up to this day, we just spend the money on content, so that kind of helps. So if you're always improving and you're just reinvesting the money, eventually it just keeps growing.
Million subscribers?
Well, we across everything, we're closing in on 200 million subscribers.
Jesus!
Yeah.